Okay, I'm going to try again. This is my second take. Today I'm going to talk about adjectives, both descriptive adjectives, adjectives that will describe personality traits, physical traits, nationalities, different ways to describe people, as well as then possessive adjectives. Okay, so let me make sure this keeps going. I apologize. Okay, so adjectives, as you know, are words that describe people, places, and things. And in Spanish, descriptive adjectives are used with the verb ser to point out characteristics such as nationality, size, color, shape, personality, and appearance. In English, the forms of descriptive adjectives do not change to reflect the gender. In other words, we don't change our adjectives based on whether the noun is masculine or feminine, and usually those are only used with people. So things like the word nice, it doesn't change if it's Juan is nice, Elena is nice, or they are nice. But in Spanish, descriptive adjectives have to agree in gender and or number with the nouns or pronouns that they describe. So Juan es simpático, Elena es simpática, ellos son simpáticos. Okay. Adjectives that end in O have 4 different forms. The feminine singular is formed by changing the O to A, and the plural is formed by just adding an S to the singular form. So to change el muchacho alto to its feminine form would be la muchacha alta. And in the plural, you would add an S to each of the singular forms. So los muchachos altos, las muchachas altas. Adjectives that end in E, or in English E, or a consonant have the same masculine and feminine forms, but they do have a singular and plural form. And so the words like inteligente, importante, interesante, difícil, fácil, these are words that have used the same form whether it's masculine or feminine. So el chico inteligente, la chica inteligente. Inteligente didn't change. El examen difícil, la clase difícil. It didn't change. And so what does change, though, is if they're plural. So los chicos inteligentes, las chicas inteligentes. Los exámenes difíciles y las clases difíciles. Now, adjectives that end in OR, like trabajador is the more common one that you're going to see. They're both variable in both gender and number. So, el hombre trabajador, pero la mujer trabajadora. There is a feminine form. Plural, los hombres trabajadores, las mujeres trabajadoras. Use the masculine plural form to refer to groups that include males and females. So it's kind of like Manuel y Lola. We can substitute them with ellos, the masculine plural form. The same thing is going to happen with the adjective. Manuel es alto, Lola es alta, Manuel y Lola son altos. Okay? In order to have altas, we have to have both women, both feminine objects. Okay? So here's a list. There's a few cognates in here, like difícil, grande, importante, inteligente, interesante, where these are similar both in English and Spanish. Mucho is another one. You need to memorize all of these different descriptors. They need to be memorized. Now, another way to describe people is by their nationalities. And unlike in English, Spanish adjectives of nationality are not capitalized. We do capitalize the proper name of the countries, however, but we don't capitalize the nationality. That's the adjective. Now, one thing that I want to point out here is at the bottom of the first column, estadounidense. In English, we do not have an adjective to say that somebody from the United States. We use the term American. But really, anybody from an American continent is an American. So Canadians could also be considered American. Mexicans could be considered American. Those from Central America, from South America. Now, the reason we use American is that there's no word in English. We haven't come up with a word other than the use of American. But in Spanish, another word does exist. Okay? It is somebody that is specifically from the U.S., from the United States, estadounidense. Okay? And these are more that you will need to memorize. Now, some of the adjectives of nationalities that end in a consonant, you can add an A to it, or A. Like alemán becomes alemana, japonés becomes japonesa, inglés becomes inglesa, also francés becomes francesa. But if you notice, when we add the A, the accent mark falls off. Alemán, japonés, inglés, and also francés all carry accent marks. But when the feminine form and the plural forms do not. So alemanes would not have an accent mark. Alemanas still doesn't. Español doesn't have an accent mark. And it just becomes española, españoles, españolas. Okay. Descriptive adjectives and adjectives of nationality, they generally follow the nouns that they modify. So it goes noun, adjective, which is different than English where we go adjective, noun. So, el joven rubio es de España. La estudiante venezolana vive en España. Okay, so rubio came after joven and venezolana came after estudiante. Now, unlike descriptive adjectives, adjectives of quantity precede the modified noun. Okay? In other words, they come before the noun. So something like, hay muchos libros en la biblioteca. Hay mucha tarea en la clase de español. And adjectives of quantity include numbers, like hablo con dos turistas puertorriqueños. Notice the dos came before the turistas, but then the other descriptive adjective, puertorriqueños, came after. Now, bueno or buena, malo or mala can appear before or after a noun. When placed before a masculine singular noun, the forms are shortened. Bueno becomes buen, and malo becomes mal. So, Joaquín es un buen amigo. Or Joaquín es un amigo bueno. Same kind of thing with hoy es un mal día, hoy es un día malo. And they both mean the same thing. Now, when grande appears before a singular noun, it is shortened to gran, but it changes meaning. It's no longer big, it's now great. And grande, following the noun, is big or large. So, Don Francisco es un gran hombre, so he's a great man. La familia de Inés es grande. So, Inés's family is large, it's big. Okay, so now, in the few minutes I have left, I'm going to move on to possessive adjectives. Like descriptive adjectives are used to qualify people, places, or things. They express the quality of ownership or possession. And you'll see that for most of them, they are only two forms, either me or mis, tu or tus, su or sus. The one that is different, well, there's two, but we're not going to worry about the vosotros form. The one that is different is nuestro, which becomes nuestra, nuestros, nuestras. One moment. Okay, I'm back. I wasn't sure on the time I had left. In English, possessive adjectives are invariable, meaning they do not agree in gender and number. We've already talked about that. But Spanish possessive adjectives, however, do agree in gender and number. So if you're talking about one cousin, mi primo. But if you're talking about more than one cousin, mis primos. One aunt would be mi tía. More than one aunt would be mis tías. The forms of nuestro and vuestro agree in gender and number with the nouns that they modify as well. So, nuestra clase de español, for example. Okay. Some examples. ¿Cómo se llama tu mamá? Now, you don't have to repeat with this, but you could say, mi mamá se llama Mariela. ¿Cómo se llaman tus hermanos? Or tus hermanas. Mis hermanos se llaman Andrés y Juana. Okay, so there's more than one sibling, so it's mis. Now, su is interesting because su or sus could mean his, her, your, formal, your being y'all, formal, and their. So here's some examples. John y Ana tienen una hija. Su hija se llama Anita. So the su part is referring back to John and Ana, but it's singular because hija is singular. Anita tiene dos perros. Sus perros son muy simpáticos. So the su part is referring back to Anita, and it becomes sus because of perros. And ¿a qué hora es su clase? Nuestra clase es a las 10:30. Possessive adjectives are always placed before the nouns they are modified, like ¿está tu novio aquí? No, mi novio está en la biblioteca. So the tu and the mi came in front of novio. And because su and sus have multiple meanings, meaning your, his, her, their, its, you can avoid confusion by using this construction. The article, the noun, de, and the subject pronoun. So sus parientes can mean los parientes de él, los parientes de ella, los parientes de usted, los parientes de ustedes, los parientes de ellos, los parientes de ellas. And so you can use that to avoid any confusion. Now, if you are talking about su familia, and you could say, oh, la familia de ella. And then you can say later, sus parientes son simpáticos. You don't have to say los parientes de ella because of the context. We already know we're talking about her family and then her relatives. Okay, so that's all on possessive adjectives. I hope this video helps you understand a little bit more about adjectives and possessives.